Namaskar, hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I am Namrata Singh and you are watching Question Hour. The show focuses on important questions raised by the members in both the House of Parliament concerning matters of national interest. In the Rajya Sabha, members from various parties posed questions related to 10 ministries and sought responses from the respective ministers. Similarly, during the Question Hour in Lok Sabha, members from diverse parties raised questions pertaining to 18 ministries, seeking responses from the respective ministers. Now, let's take a closer look at some of the questions whose replies were tabled in both the houses.
Lok Sabha member Dr. Dharamveera Gandhi asked the Minister of Electronics and Information Technology details of digital tools and dashboards being used by the government to track government service timelines and penalize delays and graft. The Government of India is leveraging digital technology to enhance transparency, accountability and efficiency in public service delivery. Several digital platforms, tools, dashboards and monitoring systems have been implemented across ministries and departments, enabling real-time monitoring, data-driven decision-making, tracking service timelines, ensuring timely delivery of citizen-centric services and deterring delays and malpractices. Key digital tools and dashboards include Prayas. Developed by NIC, Prayas is a task and performance monitoring system designed to improve administrative efficiency and compliance with service timelines at the officer and department level. E-Samiksha. It is a central decision tracking platform used to monitor the implementation of high-level government decisions and initiatives, particularly those stemming from the Cabinet, PMO and inter-ministerial directives. Pragati, proactive governance and timely implementation. It is a multi-tier video-based platform where the Prime Minister reviews implementation of flagship programs, public grievances and large infrastructure projects. Government e-Marketplace is India's unified procurement portal for government buyers and sellers. It brings efficiency, cost savings and integrity into public procurement. Centralized public grievance redress and monitoring system. It is a central portal for citizens to lodge complaints regarding delays, non-service or poor quality delivery by any government department. RTI Online. This portal enables citizens to file RTI requests to seek information from central government bodies, enhancing transparency. In addition to the platforms mentioned, various departments have developed their own dedicated portals and dashboards that enhance visibility into service delivery, enabling both administrators and citizens to monitor progress and key developments in real time. Rajya Sabha member Sushmita Dev asked the Minister of Women and Child Development whether government has taken any steps to review and amend the National Commission for Women Act 1990 as recommended by the Parliament Committee on the Empowerment of Women and various expert bodies, if so, the details thereof. The Ministry in its reply informed the House that the National Commission for Women draws its powers from provisions of the National Commission for Women Act 1990. The Commission has powers to investigate and examine all matters relating to the safeguards provided for women under the Constitution and other laws, review from time to time the existing provisions of the Constitution and other laws affecting women and recommend amendments thereto, take up the cases of violation of the provisions of the Constitution and of other laws relating to women with the appropriate authorities. Further, under subsection 4 of section 10 of the NCW Act, the Commission, while investigating any matter referred to in clause or subclause of subsection 1, have all the powers of civil court while trying a suit and, in particular, in respect of the matters, namely, summoning and enforcing the attendance of any person from any part of India and examining him on oath, receiving evidence on affidavits, requiring the discovery and production of any document, requisitioning any public record or copy thereof from any court or office, and issuing commissions for the examination of witnesses and documents. The government is also making concerted efforts for protection of women and girls and advancing their rights by addressing the issue of safety and security through various schematic and legislative interventions. Review of policies, programs and legislations is a continuous process, and based on stakeholder recommendations, suggestions and consultations, government takes appropriate measures to amend laws, policies and programs from time to time. The ministry further informed that the National Commission for Women functions independently and impartially as mandated under various sections of the National Commission for Women Act 1990. Lok Sabha members D.K. Aruna and Itela Rajendra asked the Minister of Electronics and Information Technology whether some states are fast emerging as key electronics manufacturing hubs with major projects in mobile phones, laptops and server manufacturing, and as a newly approved electronics clusters and cities, and details of steps being taken by government to develop Hyderabad as an investment destination to Viksit Rajya Viksit Bharat 2047. The ministry in its reply informed the House that the electronics manufacturing in India has expanded significantly in the last 11 years, driven by Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat program. The government is actively strengthening the domestic electronics ecosystem to boost self-reliance and global competitiveness. Value addition by electronics manufacturing units across the country has also increased considerably in recent years. Government has notified electronics manufacturing clusters and modified electronic manufacturing clusters schemes to create world-class infrastructure along with common facilities and amenities, including ready-built factory sheds. Under the EMC scheme, 19 greenfield EMCs and 3 common facility centers approved in 15 states. Under EMC 2.0 scheme, a total of 10 EMCs and 1 CFC have been approved in 8 states across the country. Government has launched India AI Mission in March 2024 with the vision to position India as a global leader in artificial intelligence by focusing on 7 foundational pillars. India AI compute capacity. It aims to provide high-end compute power to all, including MSMEs and startups at an affordable cost. India AI Foundation models to develop India's own large multi-modal models trained on Indian datasets and languages. This is to ensure sovereign capability and global competitiveness in generative AI. AI Kosh to develop large datasets for training AI models. AI Kosh is a unified data platform integrating datasets from government and non-government sources. India AI Application Development Initiative to develop AI applications for India's specific challenges in sectors such as climate change and disaster management, healthcare, agriculture, governance, and assistive technologies for learning disabilities. India AI Future Skills to develop AI-skilled professionals in India by increasing the number of graduates, postgraduate, and PhDs in AI domain. It also envisions setting up data and AI labs in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities across India. India AI Startup Financing to provide financial assistance to AI startups. Safe and trusted AI to balance innovation with strong governance frameworks to ensure responsible AI adoption. These initiatives collectively reduce early-stage financial constraints, accelerate production development, and open up global market access for AI startups. Further, government, through multiple initiatives, has been supporting those Indian languages through various AI models. Government has launched Bhashini Mission under Digital India program to overcome the challenges of language barrier and bridge the digital divide so that citizens can access digital services in all languages. Bhashini utilizes AI-powered language models. It supports various Indian languages including Tamil and Telugu translation across different domains. Apart from this, the Government of India has taken various initiatives to promote electronics manufacturing are as follows. Production-linked incentives for large-scale electronics manufacturing, PLI for IT hardware, electronics manufacturing clusters and EMC 2.0 scheme for promotion of manufacturing of electronic components and semiconductors, allowing 100% FDI in electronics manufacturing subject to applicable laws and regulations. All these schemes are pan-India initiative and any state and union territories can avail benefits under these initiatives. Rajya Sabha members Mithilesh Kumar, Mayank Kumar Nayak and Dr. Kalpana Saini as the Minister of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. The key objectives of the newly approved Industrial Training Institute Upgradation Scheme. The Ministry in its reply informed the House that the Cabinet has approved a national scheme for upgradation of industrial training institutes and setting up of 5 national centers of excellence for skilling to enhance the overall quality and relevance of vocational training in the country. The key objectives of the scheme are to improve the quality of training delivery in ITIs and NSTIs, to modernize infrastructure and equipment as per industry standards, to introduce industry-aligned long-term and short-term courses, especially in new and emerging sectors, to strengthen industry linkage for demand-driven skilling and better employment outcomes, and to enhance the capacity of national skill training institutes for training of trainers. The total estimated outlay of the scheme is 60,000 crore rupees, with contributions from the central government 30,000 crore rupees, state governments 20,000 crore rupees, and industry partners 10,000 crore rupees over a period of 5 years. Under the scheme, 5 national centers of excellence for skilling are to be set up within national skill training institutes located at Bhubaneswar, Chennai, Hyderabad, Kanpur and Ludhiana. These centers will focus on advanced training of trainers, industry-led skilling programs and exposure to global practices. They will also conduct capacity building programs for instructors and staff of ITIs, for which states and union territories may depute faculty from time to time. Lok Sabha member K. Gopinath asked the Minister of Mines details of mines across the country where drone surveys, AI-based mineral assessment and IoT-based monitoring systems have been implemented to promote sustainable mining. Present status of digital mining dashboards, real-time production monitoring and AI-based safety systems. The Ministry in its reply informed the House that the central government has adopted technology in the mining sector for monitoring the mining activities using application of digital aerial images by incorporating regulatory provisions in the Mineral Conservation and Development Rules 2017. A drone data management system has been developed for online submission of digital aerial images. During the last 3 years, a total of 3,852 digital images have been submitted on this portal. These steps ensure better supervision of mining operations. The Ministry of Mines has also incorporated provisions for sustainable mining practices under Chapter 5 of MCDR 2017, which provides rules for precaution against air pollution, prevention of discharge of toxic liquid, precaution against noise, control of surface subsidence, etc. Rule 35 of MCDR 2017 provides for star rating of the mining leases based on sustainable mining practices adopted by the miners. The Ministry further informed that as per existing law, before execution of mining lease, it is mandatory for the prospective leases to obtain the requisite statutory clearances, including environmental clearance. The leaseholders are required to ensure compliance of the terms and conditions of the clearances and approvals accorded by the respective authorities, failing which necessary action is taken by the concerned authorities under the respective acts and applicable rules and guidelines. The mining projects are also mandated to obtain the no objection certificate for groundwater extraction subject to specific conditions under the guidelines issued by Ministry of Jal Shakti to regulate and control groundwater extraction in India. The Indian Bureau of Mines has developed the Mining Tenement System portal, which is designed to streamline processes, enhance transparency and improve efficiency in mineral resource management. It also promotes the objective of ease of doing business. It has various modules which are being used by various stakeholders for the purpose of reporting. Also, an MTS dashboard has been developed which is dynamic and provides updated information regarding production by the leaseholders. The MTS portal has been developed as per Rule 73 of the MCDR 2017.
Well, that is all I have for you in this edition of Question Hour. Stay tuned and thank you for watching Sunset TV.